Hey poker people, Fitz here. Today I'm going to show you how to properly race off all of the green chips at your table during our tournament. On the last hand before our first break, you will hear the tournament director announce, "All right dealers, finish the hand you're on and hold up. We are taking a small break." Dealers, it is very important at this time you do not let any players leave with any chips in their hand. That is very important. You will also hear the tournament director announce, "Dealers, race off all of your green chips, with the player having the most black chips buying up all the green chips from each player." What that means is this. The first thing you're going to want to do is go around and put each player's green chips in increments of $100 in front of them. Stacks of 4. Any chips that are left over, we will stick right in front, just like this. We will do that to each one of our players before we do anything else. Very important. We do not buy any chips from anybody until this is done first. And we will go around and just make sure that no one has a dirty stack anywhere either, because sometimes people have a green chip stuck at the bottom of their stack. Make sure that's very visible, and you'll do that to each and every individual before you move on. The next thing you're going to do is locate the player that has the most black chips. It's that player that's going to buy all the increments of $100 green chips from each one of the players. So this player has this one stack of 100. You will give him 100 from this player. What I like to do is have you place that chip right where his green chip was before. And now you will bring this stack to this player here. You will do the same with this individual here. Again, placing his 2 chips where his green chips were. And you will bring these 2 stacks here. You see this individual is buying the chips from each one of these players. Now, as you are accumulating chips in front of this player, you will put these in stacks of 500. Don't have a bunch of stacks all over the place here. Looks very messy. Once you get 500, stack them just like so. And continue on with the next player, putting this chip where the green chip was before. Here, this individual gets 2. Remember, do this one at a time. Don't grab a handful of chips and start doing them. Just do it one at a time to each player. That way there's no mistake, there's no confusion on who the chips belong to. And this individual would get 4. And sometimes, if you like, you could always put a $100 chip here, exchange it for a purple. But in this case, this player has so many black chips that I would just give him 4 black chips. Just like that. We will put those here. Once you've had this player buy all the $100 increment chips of each of these players, there will be some players that have these odd chips in front of them, the ones that didn't equal 100. What we do with that is what we call a race-off. And the way that procedure works is you shuffle, shuffle, box shuffle. Laura's got a great video on that. And then you deliver 1 card to each chip in front of each and every player. And how we do that is we always start in seat 1. Now, if seat 1 doesn't have any chips, we would move on to seat 2 and so on and so forth. In other words, don't worry about where your button is. That has no bearing in this situation here. So we see this individual has 1, we give him 1. This individual here has 3, we give him 3. Now what I don't like is just throwing and slapping. What I like is to have you come in, just like a blackjack dealer maybe, and very nicely, and come out. That way it's not sloppy, we know whose card is who, we release our deck. Now what we're going to do is going to collect all of these odd chips that were in front of each of these players and bring them to the center of the table and count how many we have. And we have $300 worth of chips there. we're going to sell these chips to the individual that was buying the original chips from all of the players. And he will buy these. Again, we will set them in increments of 500. Now what's going to happen is this. We are going to award this chip to the player who has the highest card. And in this case, this gentleman has an ace. No one else here has an ace. As a matter of fact, he has 2 aces. Although he has 2 aces, he still receives only 1 chip. I like to stick that chip in front of his stack, so when he comes back, he knows he won a chip. Then I kill his complete hand. You see, he will not receive a second chip. I then go to the next highest card, in this case is the king of spades. I award him I kill his complete hand. And now there's 1 chip left, but there's a tie between 2 players. They each have a 10. When it's time to award this chip, we will go by which suit is the highest. And in case you're not aware, from low to high, clubs, diamonds, hearts, spades. In this case, the spades is higher than the heart. And we will award this to the 10 of spades. We will clean this up. Once you've completed your race-off, this player here will have every green chip that was at your table. So now it's time to buy the chips from him. During the last hand, somebody came by and dropped this rack off to you, and inside it contains some chips and this gold card. Very important, this card. There's a video explaining that. Pamela tells you everything you need to know about it, but make sure you watch that video. Very, very important. Again, it also comes with some chips inside. And what you're going to do is you're going to purchase all of these green chips from this one player with the chips that were inside of this rack. And this individual has 5, 10, 15, 1,600 in chips. And we will give him 1,600 in exchange. We will take these, we will rack them up. We will take any of the rebuy cards that were unused, put them back inside of the rack. And at times there may be seeding card situation. We'll talk about that in a different video. But here we will rack all of this up, stick it in the middle of your table, and somebody will come by and pick it up later. And that is how you race off. Once you are done racking up your green chips, you will then suit up your deck, putting them in sequential order. Ace to king, ace to king, ace to king, ace to king, spades, hearts, clubs, diamonds. Ace of spades to the face, followed by 2, 3, so on and so forth. And you will then fan them out in front of you and await for your players to return. Now normally, during our 8-handed structure, at the end of the race-off, this individual would have 1,600 in green chips in front of him. And there would be 1,600 chips inside the rack. No, that's not magic, Bodini. That's a little bit of math. Sorry, boss. I gave away your secret. So yes, you would just exchange the 16 for the 16. But sometimes we may be 9-handed, and in the event we were 9-handed, there would have been an extra 200 here, which means the tournament director would have put an extra 200 inside your rack. But if they didn't, you would just call them over and tell them I need an extra 200. But another thing that might happen is this. During our tournaments, sometimes some of these players may not be as good as maybe you or I, and they went all in with their 7 deuce and, well, came up on the short end of the stick. And they didn't want to rebuy, and we brought over a new player. Well, since we brought over a new player, he brought over new chips, and now maybe there's going to be more than 1,600 at the table because he brought some green with him. Now, as you are collecting these odd chips, because the new player came to your table, well, you might not have the exact increments to purchase from this individual. So this is how it's going to work. If you have 5 green chips, you will ignore this one, put it inside of your rack, and you will sell this stack to this individual and award 1 chip to whoever had the highest card. In the event there were 6 chips, well, if there were 6 chips, you will actually account this for a full amount and buy 200 from this individual, awarding the 2 highest cards. And when it came to purchasing the chips back from him, you will account this 50 as 100 and give him a $100 chip for the 50 because you took it from his stack. Now, of course, there are times there could be 7, and of course the same thing is going to apply. Count it as 200. Award, and when you buy back, give him 100 for his 75. And that's how that works. Sometimes during the race-off, a player may ask you, "Hey, what are you doing with my chips?" And your response should be something like this: "The green chips are no longer in play, and we are coloring them up and giving you black chips in exchange." Another important note, dealers, although the players are on a break, you are not. You see, it's your responsibility to keep an eye on all of these players' chips. In the event you need to step away from the table for any reason, call over a tournament director, or you can ask maybe a dealer at one of the other tables to assist you in keeping an eye at your table. But hurry back, because the tournament can start at any time. Also, remember this: if you are asked to watch a table, you're only allowed to watch your table and one other dealer's table. You are not allowed to watch multiple tables. All right? Enjoy, guys, and see you at the next tournament.